eyes are not deceiving you, everyone. I'm tackling the Sonic X comic series for this year's Halloween. I'm not going to go into the backstory and all that about this comic series. That's for issue 1, which, depending on when you're watching this video, may or may not be out yet. But what you need to know going into this issue is that it does take place in the same universe as the Sonic X anime series, and events from certain episodes will be mentioned in this issue. Plus, events from the previous issue, an alien ship attacking Station Square and inside where Tails and Gun Captain Westwood, do sort of influence the plot. So let's get started. We begin with a news report that summarizes last issue's main plot. The President of the United States is watching the news and is confused about the players involved. Oh yeah, Eggman's in jail. I'm sure that's not important here. Anyway, when the President sees Captain Westward on TV, he orders him, Sonic, and Tails brought in for immediate questioning. I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying to find out if there's a conspiracy between Sonic and his friends and Dr. Eggman. Back at the crash site, Westwood prevents Tails from speaking to the press, and he himself refuses to answer any questions. Later, Sonic and Tails are talking about the ship and how Westwood told them to get the ship working again because of presidential orders. Or so he claims. Soon, government agents arrive to take Sonic, Tails, and Westwood away. But that's enough of that plot. Let's move on to our real story. Vanilla, Cream, Chris Thorndike, and Emerald are watching the news. The same broadcast the President saw, by the way. Vanilla's worried about her daughter's safety when it comes to fighting Dr. Eggman, so she believes it's a good idea if they find a safe place far away from Station Square. Cream naturally objects to the idea, and Chris points out that Cream helped him thwart Eggman time and time again. Chris's mom arrives home from a shoot. She is an actress after all. At first it looks like she's on Vanilla's side about them leaving Station Square, but in actuality, it's just for a vacation, and not Vanilla and her daughter moving out. The next day, the 5 of them, I keep forgetting Cheese, my apologies, drive out to the Thorndike's private island because of course they have one. There are other people living on the island, but for some reason there's no one around. After arriving at the summer cottage, Chris, Cream, and Cheese head towards the village. Chris is worried about Sonic, and he should be, because right now he and Tails are being interrogated by government agents about the ship and Westwood. Our heroes both figure out independently that Westwood's deceiving everyone. Meanwhile, Westwood tells the President Sonic's a threat, they'll try to take over the world, etc., etc. The General says the two always help the government when asked, and they can't hold them without charging a crime. So they go ahead and charge Sonic and Tails for attacking Station Square and being associated with Eggman. Speak of the devil. Well, our duo's day just keeps getting better and better. By the way, that's it for Sonic's part of the issue. Back to our true stars, they wander around the village still wondering where the people are. Well, why don't you ask the creepy voices in the dark chanting, "Join us." They walk into an ice cream parlor. After finding no one inside, Chris gets the idea to make a sundae themselves. Geez, it's like his family owns the island or something. To be fair, Chris knows the owners of the shop and will leave them the appropriate cash. Meanwhile, the mothers are talking about exposing their children to dangers. Vanilla's stance hasn't changed. Mrs. Thorndike knows they can't protect their children from everything, and by staying with her family, Cream's at least surrounded by people who can help. They note a familiar-looking stone hourglass before walking off, followed by our menace of the story. Chris, Cream, and Cheese prepare to leave after stuffing themselves on ice cream when they hear a noise. Oh, well, here are the shop owners, and it seems they want the children's souls as payment instead of cash. 2 more possessed people arrive, forcing the kids to hide behind a counter. They start tossing ice cream scoops at our possessed friends. Yeah, that'll give them ice cream headaches. Apparently, it was enough of a distraction for them to escape. And they run into more possessed people. I guess Majora's Mask is going small this time and raising an army. Actually, they reference the events of Sonic X Episode 19. More on that later. They run back to the summer cottage and barricade the door. That's not going to help them because their mothers are also possessed. Let's knock the Sonic and Tails plot out of the way first. This is actually part of a longer series-wide story arc involving Westwood going through extreme measures to keep the world safe from Eggman and Sonic and his friends. Using the incident from the last issue gave him a way to have Sonic and Tails arrested and placed in prison. I do admire Sonic's optimism here. I wonder how long he'll keep it. Now that that's taken care of, we'll move on to the real story. It's a sequel to Sonic X's 19th episode, Sonic Scream Test. The plot involved Chris, Sonic, Tails, Amy, Cream, and Cheese on location at one of Mrs. Thorndyke's films. During the shoot, one of the crew moved a talisman, a stone hourglass object which kept ghosts in their dimension as long as it stays in place. So naturally, moving it caused chaos throughout the episode. And yes, the ghost possessed Amy. Eventually, Chris placed the talisman back on the pedestal, imprisoning the ghost once again. Mrs. Thorndyke thought it was part of the movie, which would explain why the talisman was taken back to the summer cottage thinking it was a prop. Despite the ghost's fear of the talisman, they apparently followed it to the private island to start their shenanigans. Must be a love-hate relationship. The mothers talking about their children's safety. Both have a valid reason which could translate to real life. Vanilla's worried for her daughter's safety, even though Cream's been in numerous life-threatening situations before. Still, Cream's 6 and Vanilla wants to keep her safe from all the dangers from Eggman for as long as possible. Mrs. Thorndyke, or Lindsay as I'm sure the comments will tell me, knows that children can't be sheltered from all dangers forever, and having a support group, in this case Sonic, can help the children with certain problems. Unfortunately, ghost possession is not one of them. At least right now. The setup to the possessed ghost felt cliche, seemingly abandoned town, spooky things from the dark, etc. But at the same time, it sorta worked. Despite how penciler David Hutchinson drew the human characters, I like the possessed look. Gives them that otherworldly weirdness. The score for this issue is a 6. It's an above average story that works for the Halloween season. But since the story is a two-parter, that means I'll have to take a look at the next issue, which hopefully will be very soon. Until then, have a good day, and be safe. You know, possessed Vanilla would fit right at home in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe.